Okay, hi there, everyone. Welcome to the first mix tutorial, mix breakdown. My name is Dalton Nessery, and this is the first of many to come for this video series. I first want to say thank you for tuning in because although this channel and this company, the Sound Composite, is not in any way, I'm not doing this to gain popularity or anything like that. This is only so that anybody who sees it may find it helpful and useful to help them become a better mix engineer, a better musician, better producer, whatever it is. So that, I want you to know, is my main goal, my main focus for anything that I do for this company. If you didn't know, this is drum samples as well, so you can go to the website, link in the description to check that out. But yeah, so now that we got that out of the way, thank you for tuning in, and let's jump right in. So this is a song by the name of Outro off a instrumental EP that I'm currently in the works slowly releasing. What's special about this song is that not only is it the first instrumental piece I've put out, but also this was in the works for about a year. It all started with these electric tracks right here, the ones that I have highlighted here, as you can see on the left side. And then in one day, I added all these Nord sounds with the Nord Stage 3. And then eventually added all these. And actually, these guitars selected here in the light green, these right here, were added actually like the day that it got mastered. So I was mixing this with a friend of mine. He was like listening, and we were fixing some, like tweaking some things. And then I said, okay, here it is. Take it, do your work your magic, and then he mastered it in about 30 minutes, and that's what you hear now. So we don't hear the mastered version. This is not mastered. This is obviously pre-mastered, but you'll still get the same idea. So yeah, we're just going to look at this, break it down, and yeah, so enough of me talking. Without further ado, this is Outro. All right, there you have it. There is Outro. I hope that you enjoyed that. Let's go ahead and break it down. So we'll start. I guess I'll go top to bottom if I could talk. Yeah, I think that would be the best way to do it. So let's go ahead and spread these tracks out. All right. Okay, so the drums were all tracked. This was a 1972 Slingerland kit. My kit, love it to death. And these drums were tracked in Denton, Texas, in the most rectangular room you've ever seen, dead in the middle of it. Not a big room at all. My approach was basically this. I didn't know the sound that I really wanted yet, and so I knew that I was going to have to figure that out in post-production. And in order to give myself options, I said I would rather get the driest sound possible. That way I have room to work with making it bigger if I need to, which I ended up doing, obviously. But if I just solo all those drums for you, you'll be able to hear, this is without the verb, how dry the drum sounded. So there's with the verb, which is obviously doing a lot. So yeah, you could see how much it added, but had I gone and recorded in a massive room and then later decided, oh, well, I want a drier sound, you can't take that out of the recording. So it's always better, if you're not sure, in my opinion, to just get the driest sound and then you have room to work with it. So yeah, as far as that goes, that's my opinion. So yeah, let's break down, just go part by part. I won't spend too much time on each thing, but enough to kind of give you the general vibe of what I did. So here's the kick drum. This was mic'd with a Beta 52. The whole kit was mic'd with SM57s except for the Beta 52 on the kick and then AKGs for the overhead and the front of kick mic. Just solo this. So this is dry. Loop playback. This is dry. Or no, sorry. This is dry. My bad. With EQ. Decapitator to add a little bit of crunch. And then my favorite, C4. I use this preset called Gershon Thumper. If you go into load, it's one of these. Either one, they both do a little bit different things, but it gives you that extra punch and compression, and it sounds so good on a kick drum. I love it. So I normally will throw C4 on there if I want a lot of punch in that kick. So such a big difference. It tightens up that low end, focuses it. So that's that kick drum. As you can see, there's 2 snare tracks. This is one of my favorite things that I walked away with having learned from this mix that a friend of mine showed me. So the snare top, you can see how much high end we're boosting up to 1.8K at about 6 dB. It's just not, this is how dark that sound was. Just the way that we mic'd it. So definitely the verb is also helping out too. As you can see, if we, why is it doing that? Okay. If we open up our snare verb, it's lustrous plates. This is without verb. Now, one thing that I love doing is not only EQing after the reverb, always, because without it, you can even hear all that low frequency. So definitely EQ after to get rid of all the frequencies you don't need. And then one time I was experimenting on a snare verb, and I threw the J37 tape delay after it. So Waves plugin, I love this thing. And it just did something to the reverb. I'll extenuate it right now so you can hear it, but just check this out. So this is with, and I'll bypass it. So as you can see, it does a whole lot. It just adds, if you take the saturation knob right here and just crank that bad boy up, it adds a lot. And then the delay is at like 72 milliseconds, so not a lot. So it's like a time-based effect being multiplied by another time-based effect. It's pretty cool. So yeah, so then there's another snare that's just a duplicate of this, but it's not the same thing because I didn't want phase issues. And what I did was I was not very happy with the amount of high end I wasn't getting from just this snare track, but I did not want to throw a sample in. I did not want to do that. So I said, okay, what can I do? So I duplicated it, and a friend of mine showed me this trick. You create this sizzle track, as you can see here. There's a plugin in Pro Tools. It's stock to Pro Tools. It's called Signal Generator, and it generates white noise, and that's all it does. Now, if you throw a gate after it and sidechain it, as you can see, like I've done here, sidechain it to this snare track, and this is what you get. I'll just turn it up to extenuate it. Oh, my bad, that was the wrong. I think it's this one. This one? You hear that? And that's just, we threw Devil Lock to give it some crunch, and then we EQ'd it, and that's the signal, the noise that you're hearing. Now, it won't work like these, what we did here, this chain after the signal generator with the Devil Lock and the EQ. You're obviously going to have to maneuver those settings on each of those plugins depending on the snare that you're working with. But we liked what we got with this. Here we go. So I'll go ahead and bypass the sizzle. And it gives you that high-end crispness that you want without having to go into your EQ and take your high band and high shelf and just boost the heck out of it. Because what happens when you do that is you also turn up the because that 57 on that snare is going to be picking up your hi-hat, and it's going to, stuff's bleeding in. So if you crank up the high shelf to get all that high end, you also consequently are going to get more of some bleed, which you don't want. So that was such a cool thing that he showed me. And then I came up with this idea of taking the signal generators track, and as you can see, I'm sending it to the Verb too. This is what it does. This is without, now with. So really cool stuff. I was really happy with that snare sound. You see this FOK right here is the front of kit mic, or front of kick mic. This was Blake's idea, the guy who engineered this and helped me record these drums. And this helps get, this track right here honestly completed the whole drums as the sound in general. Like, it just brought all of it together. So some EQ. Here's dry. So a lot of high end coming out from Decapitator. I got a high cut on. Great plugin, by the way, Sound Toys. This is one of the best harmonic distortion plugins I think ever made. Use it on basically everything. Not even kidding. So yeah, there's that. Next up, we have the Rack Tom, which is just being compressed with the 1176, and the Slate stuff is really good. If you haven't looked into that, definitely do that. And then some virtual drive from the FG73 to get some preamp harmonic distortion there. And you may be wondering why the whole song starts out with just this random tom fill. It's because I thought the click was counting me in to start right there, but it wasn't, and then we ended up just keeping it 'cause why not? So here's the floor tom dry. I'll go ahead and actually find a better spot where there's like a fill. I guess this is fine. Okay, so here's the floor tom dry. So that's a 57 for you. EQ. Now, I will normally always cut out this area right here, because if you don't, there's a lot of like, not woofiness, but just that, I don't even know how to describe it very well, but it's just, you can hear the difference. It focuses in that tone on that floor tom, and toms in general when you mess with your mid-frequency band. And then, yeah, VMR, which is just doing a little bit. And then C4, another Gershon preset for some clarity. And then some Verb. My choice of Verb was some EQ there, as you can see. And then I probably should have done a high, low pass. Or no, sorry, a high pass. Oh no, yeah, low pass. What the heck? And then the Verb Suites Classic, which is a great plugin by Liquid Sonics that comes with the Slate Digital bundle. All right, so that's the toms. I'll play them both together for you. So, really happy with that sound. Here's the overheads. Overheads were AKG 214s, great mics. And because of the bus compression that's happening up here, which I'll explain in a second, but the overheads sound sick. But here they are soloed. And you can hear the room is not very big. You can just tell. Some pretty basic EQ here. You do the same thing to both normally. Not always, but for the most part, especially given that I was using those cymbals that day, I will do the same processing. All right, so not much there. And then this wild drums track at the end of the song, in this section right here. When everything gets big, I wanted a way to bring the momentum. The parts that happen in the song from like this point to this point, when it goes into that big ending section and everything gets wild, every part that happens from like here to there was carefully put there because I wanted every single part that was being played there and every instrument, no matter what it was, to help, only to be there to help bring the momentum to that moment. So the bass even, that little fill right there. And then these wild drums right here are called wild drums because, if I play them, they're barely in there, but it's basically, Blake was like, hey, just play without even any respect for time or anything like that. Just hit stuff. And this was a production move I did. I swelled them in, had them cut out immediately, and it creates a really, really cool, like kind of like ducking effect. You'll listen to it real quick. So, again, everything being done is just to help bring the momentum to that ending section. This is a tambourine loop I made. So, yeah, that's that. This is actually recorded in the studio at the school that I'm at right now. Our studio, a friend of mine named Nathan helped me record this. We had one overhead mic, so this is mono, as you can see. And I stood with the tambourine and hit on the downbeats, and he did the shaker. And we just played that together, and then I quantized it with Beat Detective and looped it So that's fun. That actually really helps. And then I'm sending it to a little bit of verb. So just got to help make it wider. Okay, so that's the drums. Oh, and then at the end, there's a cool little part where it goes into a 707. This is a 707 Roland drum machine, TR-707, I think. And this is what that sounds like. I didn't even EQ it. I just used Decapitator. It's a little cool ending section. Here's the bass. I tracked the bass through a Scarlett 2i2 Direct. And this is the processing. Here it is dry, actually. It's loud enough. No, it's not. So some 1176 compression. Attack at 3, release at 7. Here's the EQ. The kick drum covers a lot of the low end, and so I wanted to leave some area in the bass for it to cover the high end. So that's why I did this high frequency band move there. And then Decapitator, great plugin. Like I said, I use it like on guaranteed any session that I'm mixing. You're going to see this plugin. And I think I'm just using the normal mid driver preset. Give it some drive, give it some grit. And then R bass. I use this on every bass because it never fails me. This plugin, it doesn't boost low frequencies like an EQ does. It actually creates new ones. So it's not boosting stuff that's already there. It's actually creating new frequencies. It can be dangerous, so I definitely be careful with it, because if you're not careful, you can be adding stuff that you don't want in your mix. And you don't want to mess with low end when it comes to that. It can really, really ruin your mix. So this is before. This is bypassed. It just gives you all the low end for days with that plugin. And then this is wide bass, sending to microchip, because I had this idea I might make this like a stereo bass. If you have headphones on, you can hear this. If you don't, you can't. But it sounds cool, and I'm sure I'll find a use for it in another mix. Excuse me. But I didn't like how it sounded for this one. So yeah, that's the drums and the bass. The bus compression on the drums. I did not do any EQ. I used the tape machine, and then I also used the Slate virtual bus compressor rack. Love this thing, and I just used a preset called Slow and Punchy, and I think I just changed the makeup gain. Listen to the difference. I mean, come on, that's so good. Just get the everything bundle if you want to do yourself a favor. I promise you won't regret it. They talk about the best bang for your buck, and it really is. So, all right, here's the electric guitars, which encompass basically this entire song, if you really look at it. Do this and go like that. All right. So I'll just go ahead and solo them one by one and keep adding them just to give you a feel for what's being added. There's no compression. There's no bus compression happening for the electric guitars. Everything is individual. So this is the main guitar, the guitar hook. And then this is the chorus electric guitar. Which is just being sent to Microshift, another Soundtoys plugin. If you're a student at a school, you can get all of the Soundtoys plugins, which if I go right here, I can show you how many that is. This is all their plugins, and they're all incredible, worth it. You can get all their plugins for like $250, I think, which is insane because normally each one of their plugins costs like $100. So if you're a student, definitely check that out. I highly recommend it. Adding a little bit of high end, the 1.6K at 6 dB. So good sound there. And then here's some clean. This is a left, right, and a center. And I think they all got the same processing. Yeah, they did. Let's go. So very, very unique sound. And then here's the lead, another lead hook, which is kind of verbed out. I have that sent to a long verb. Little plate, another Soundtoys plugin. What do you know? Make it wide. Just subtle, very subtle. Also, these short and plate verbs I didn't end up using. I don't know why I didn't delete them. That same electric guitar. And I'm just doing some basic EQ there. And then some compression. This is as dry as it gets. I'll play that. There's a louder part. Yeah, here you go. Here's just that same guitar dry. So a little bit of compression. And then the verb. I love Little Plate. It's such a good verb plugin. Highly recommend. Yeah, so all these guitars, like these through these, all these guitars basically repeat the same thing the whole time, except for at this change-up part. Go ahead and... Super vibey. If that's not vibey, I don't know what is. So yeah, just wanted to play that for you so you can give it a listen for a little bit longer. And then at the end here, we had this really cool, really crisp, high-end, just crazy guitar part. Because again, this end section it's supposed to be just big, and it's called outro for a reason. You listen to the end of the song, and it sounds like it's just the biggest ending ever. I love it. So there's that. And then here's these this guitar part here. Dissonance. So this guitar I remember for a fact was recorded. The one you're about to hear is recorded on a Jaguar through a deluxe reverb. My favorite guitar amp combination. Or no, sorry, a Strat. Sorry. So I harmonized that lead hook with that line right there that you just heard. I could literally play that over and over and never get bored of it. It's just, I love that line. It's such a perfect, it perfectly encompasses what I wanted to be. I wanted there to be like a lead line happening right there to lead everything into that big section, like something that specifically stuck out in the mix, and that perfectly does it. Like if you listen, it just it throws everything in. Listen like with a little more context. It just does it. And what's cool about this section is, if you notice, we're in D major here, and it goes into A major, so the fifth. So it just goes up a fifth, and then it goes A minor, or it goes A major, A minor, A sus4. But there's one guitar that is not playing that progression. I think it's this one. Yeah. F major, G major. So it plays A major, F major, G major, which creates like basically like a seventh chord. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah, there it is. So. I cannot find it. So it just goes do 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 do. So there's one guitar that is not playing that, and it's this guitar right here. So it's playing A major, F major, G major, which creates like a seventh, basically. And then the bass is pedaling in A. So that's also one of my favorite parts of the song, because it's not super loud in the mix, but loud enough to be heard, which is all what it's about. Making sure everything is heard and has its place, but also not making it too overbearing where it's like everything is in your face. It's a good balance. And then here you have some crazy, they're called what because they're just wacky guitar parts. I love it. And those actually add so much depth and like bigness, if that's a word, to the mix. I'll go ahead and mute those, all four of those. Okay, now listen to them, to the mix right there, and then while it's going, I'll unmute them. Out, in. You can literally hear it so clearly when I'm bypassing and unbypassing. So, and then just these last two here, some super out of tune guitar. Oh, I completely forgot about these guys down here. Completely forgot about these. There's a really cool guitar melody here. It's like a walk up. It sounds like it just wants to keep climbing. I love that. then right here, what do we got? Is that some sort of diminished chord? I don't even know. I like that. So there's those. I forgot about those. And then these right here at the end also. And then that's it for the guitars. And again, look at the processing on these electrics. Not a lot. Stock EQ, okay? Microshift on 2, just to give that chorus. And then verb on 1. They're all basically dry. I mean, but altogether, it doesn't sound dry. It sounds wide. It sounds full. Sorry, I was checking my phone. So, good stuff there. Love that. All right, let's go to the keys. This is I think you'll enjoy this. The keys were fun. The keys were really fun to mess with. And I did it in a day. I did it at the studio here at my school, like I said, and I did it on a Nord Stage 3. And just use the stock sounds on that thing. And then there's one keys part, as you can see here, that was with Kontakt, which I actually hope works right now. If not, that will be very unfortunate. Sometimes it's weird. Okay, yeah, of course today. It's going to be weird on me. Why? I don't get it. I do not get it. Let's go ahead and I'll just fix this real quick. Duplicate. All right, sorry. This will be the new Rhodes lead. I don't know why it's opening here. Sorry, bear with me. It's just important that you guys hear this, so that's why I'm just making a new track real quick. No 8th delay. All right. There we go. Okay. Now, we're going to delete that track. All right, now I can play it for you. So, really, really cool. This is the Scarby Mark 1, best Rhodes plugin I've ever used. And it's the only one I've ever bothered to purchase because it's all I need. So, just some triad stacking. And then this cool part at the end where I'm just playing just super fast arpeggiations on the chords. Because the end, I wanted the keys play a vital role at the end in just adding ambience to make it sound spacey. Turn that up for you a little bit. It almost sounds like someone dialing a phone really fast. And then I had this grand track, which I'm pretty sure that I used I made a MIDI track, used the Baby Grand or the Mini Grand stock Pro Tools plugin. You get it when you buy Pro Tools. And I used that, and then I put it on an audio track, because this is an audio track, not a MIDI track. Did some EQ, because I wanted it to be high-end crispiness, and sent it to a delay, which is right here, this Rhodes delay, which is really just the grand delay. And then that's being sent, the Rhodes delay. Actually, I'll just play it. Here it is without delay. I'm so proud of that sound. That's exactly what I was going for. And how I did it was with some EQ, I cut out I just wanted the high end, so to focus it, I gave it a pretty good sized high pass. And then H delay, Waves plugin, great delay plugin. I used a preset called Y delay, it looks like. And then virtual mix rack to compress. And FG Bomber for some saturation and to tighten it up a little bit. And then I sent the delay again, instead of sending like I did with the snare verb, instead of sending the verb to a delay, in this scenario, I'm actually sending the delay to a verb, the washy verb. So this is without sending that, what it sounds like. So what I learned from that is that with this technique, you can, when you send, when you want a specific track, vocal, it doesn't matter what it is, to have verb and delay processing, okay? Normally what you would do is you would create two separate buses, a verb bus and a delay bus, and make two sends from that specific track to each one separately, okay? They're in their own world. Well, in this scenario, when you send your selected track, in this case the grand piano, just to one thing for processing, so I chose the delay, and then you send the delay to the verb, you're ultimately achieving reverb and delay processing for that track, but the way that it's receiving the end goal of having both of those is different. The chain is different and how the signal gets there. And that changes everything. If I were to just send this grand to the verb and the delay, you wouldn't get that effect that happens when you when you use a time-based effect and then send that to another time-based effect. It's really cool. If you haven't messed with it, highly recommend it. And even if you don't want to use it for said song or mix, like just learning what that sounds like and the difference is really important, I think. Okay, at the beginning, there's a pad you can hear. That is an organelle with actually no EQ or anything. And it basically repeats that the whole time, so didn't do anything to that. And you can see here on the keys here, at the end, hardly any of the keys have processing. And if they do have processing, it's not like harmonic processing. It's just EQ, stock EQ. So, yeah, I don't know. For some reason, when I recorded all these parts, I didn't feel like they needed that much. I didn't force anything. That's another thing that I'm learning is just because you have a lot of tracks and just because you have stuff in front of you that needs to be mixed, doesn't mean that you need to try and force decisions to happen that don't need to happen, really. If I would have forced decisions to happen just because I felt like that was, I'm mixing, I need to have, everything has to have something going on with it. If I'd have done that, I would have EQ'd all this, and who knows what else I would have done. But I felt when I listened that it sounded how I wanted it to sound without any processing on it or on certain tracks. So I just kept it that way. I didn't fight it. So here's a high keys part. And I was just playing them like that, but I sent it to, here's the EQ. And then I sent it to a verb. Here's an example. In this case, I sent it to both of the time-based effects separately. I sent it to the verb and the delay. And it's cool when you send something to an eighth delay, a dotted eighth, because with a dotted eighth, you get this it's having a conversation with itself. You can hear it's like repeating in a way to where it sounds like it's almost like they're talking to each other. Love that. And then this is like a submarine sound is the only thing I can think of when I hear this, that comes in right here at this end section that I love. It's very vital. It's being sent to a verb. And with all the keys, love that. And then there's this lead here. A minor, A sus4, A minor, A sus4, A. That's the progression there. I really like this sound. The Nord has a lot of good sounds if you really take time to sit down and mess with it. So yeah, here's like all those ending keys parts together. Oh, what happened? So yeah, that's basically it. And then I did have some tape. I had Tape Machine on the mix bus, and then I did do a really cool production thing here as well. So at the beginning, if you look, there is some automation on the mix bus for the EQ, and it's a low pass and a high pass. And if I click on that, you can see that right when that big section comes in, I have it automated to engage. So if we go to the plugin and play it there, it starts out here. The whole mix is actually being high pass and low pass the whole time. And it just creates this open, it feels like it's opening up. And I actually made a mistake because I meant to, instead of having them not completely engage or disengage, because they're still in, I meant to have them basically cut out completely and have no high pass or low pass at all right there. But I didn't catch that. But yeah, so this is outro. I had so much fun mixing this, and this is the most proud I've ever been of a song that I've created. And it was so fun to make, and I learned so much about mixing in the process. And I hope that through this mix tutorial, mix breakdown, it's really more of a breakdown, but I hope that you learned maybe some new techniques, some new tricks that you can apply to your mixing. Again, because all this is only so that you'll be able to incorporate it and use it. Because if you just sit here and watch me and don't apply it and use it to help you become a better mix engineer or better producer or musician, why even watch this, you know? So I hope that this helped. Again, go to thesoundcomposite.com to check out more tutorials and be on the lookout for more. There's social links in the description and also a link to the website. And also, if you're interested in drum samples, you can also go to thesoundcomposite.com to locate those. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next mix breakdown. Peace.